Okay, so I'm Grasswalker. Hello and welcome to me ranking the classes in World of Warcraft in a particular context that is the 3.3.5 Wrath of the Lich King level 19 Battleground twinking situation. So the very first thing you have to address with anything at level 19 twinking is that there are three classes that stand out from the rest in one particular regard, and that is movement speed. The Druids, the Shamans, and the Hunters are faster than any other class in the game. No one can keep up with them. Yes, Rogues have Sprint, but that's on like a 3-minute cooldown, and it only lasts 10 seconds. Druids, thanks to the ability called Travel Form, can just run so fast. They're 40% faster than you. It's an instant cast spell. They're just gonna be running around, and there's nothing you can do to catch them. And in order to somewhat show this a little bit, I have got the Warsong Gulch Battleground map. So let's pretend that you are the Horde side, and you've grabbed the Alliance flag, and you are a Druid. You can run out of the tunnel near where the graveyard is, the danger zone. But the graveyard's only very dangerous if people are about to respawn immediately. So you can run through the graveyard and run away, and the people respawning in the graveyard won't be fast enough to chase you. Or you could sort of run around the ledge, the spiked ledge, and you could go down the ramp, or you could jump off the front. So these are like 4 different routes already. Another way you could go is out through the tunnel, and then you have a choice whether you stick one side, run the center, or go to the other side. And then the other choice, of course, is that you come out of this entrance and you just go down the ramp and stick to the side. There are so many ways to get out of the building that, because you're running faster than them, they're going to struggle to trap you. Generally, you'll have a couple people in offense, a couple people in defense, and some people dead. If you've got people trying to stop you and you've got the flag and you're here, they have to pick all of these routes. They have to figure out which way you're going in all of these routes. And if they make a single mistake, you're faster than them and you're gone. So, if they only have 3 players and they can only cover 3 of your exit routes, you can observe that and you can pick a route that avoids them. And as they run towards you, you run faster and you run away. And there's not a damn thing they can do about it. So Druids are in a whole different tier of themselves, because as a flag carrier, you can pick up this flag and you can just run in circles around this battleground and nobody will ever catch you. And if your team is winning, they'll get the flag and then you can stop running circles, you can cap. If your team is losing, you can just run circles for 20 minutes and eventually the game will just end in a draw or something will happen. But as a Druid, you have this immense ability to just avoid everything, and it is unparalleled in any other class. And because of that, Druid has to go in the S perfect tier. They have other things as well. So for example, they have Entangling Root. I hope I don't spell anything wrong and it doesn't come up. They have Entangling Root, an ability that you can cast, root somebody in place for 12 seconds. That's a long time. And 15 seconds at level 18, actually. And that's going to force them to use some kind of defensive ability or their trinket. But the thing is, you can just keep casting the roots, and there's nothing they can do about it. You also have heavy burst damage from the Moonfire, but you probably don't want to use it because it wastes your mana. But Druids are up here. They're in their own tier. Next up is Shaman. They go very similar in that Ghost Shaman. It's Ghost Wolf. Shamans have an ability called Ghost Wolf, which normally takes 2 seconds to cast. But if you look at the Shaman talent tree, if it loads, please load, I beg you. Alright, we'll refresh. Shaman talents, here we go. If you take, for example, Intellect by 10% for the spell power, then you can reduce the time of the Ghost Wolf cast by 2 seconds and get 3% crit. This is pretty much the best talent build you're going to get for Shamans, unless you're a dedicated healer. But you can just kite, 2-second cast minus 2 is a 0-second cast, and you also run 40% faster, and you can't be slowed. That's crazy. It is so incredibly strong to be able to just run around. And similar to the druid who has entangling roots, as a shaman you have a totem that slows everybody around you, the Earthbind totem. You drop the Earthbind totem, turn into a ghost wolf, run away with the flag, they're all slow and stuck. You're just in a different league. For that reason, shaman is up here in the S tier. Finally, hunter. Hunter's not as fast as the other ones. And that's because they only get aspect of the cheetah, which is a dangerous spell. It increases your movement speed by 30%, which isn't as much as the 40%, but it puts you up there. If you're 30-40% faster than normal people, you're in a different league. Between 30 and 40, it's not that much. If you're hit, though, you get dazed for 4 seconds. Now, if you are good, you put your different aspects on hotbinds, and if you're about to be hit, you change to a different aspect so you don't get stunned as a cheater. So you should never get stunned in aspect of the cheater unless a rogue is getting you from stealth. Shouldn't. You will, though. Everybody makes mistakes. The thing about aspect of the cheater is that these other two, druid and shaman, they are 40% faster outdoors. But if they go into a building, they go back to normal speed. The difference between hunter and shaman and druid is that hunters can be 30% faster indoors as well. That means that if you are on the map and you are running down the tunnel, chasing somebody else who has your flag who's running down the tunnel, you're going to catch him. A druid and a shaman can't do that. As well as this, hunters do some of the most damage in the game at early levels. They have a pet that can be annoying. You can get a spider pet to web people, you can get a ravager pet to pin people. You've got disables, you've got slows, you've got stuns, you've got poisons, you've got everything you need. It's glorious. The only problem is you're always spending money on arrows. That's why these three are just in their own league. These aren't in this expansion or able to be level 19, so they're not involved. Now we move on to the A and B tier. So the thing is, given how good Druid, Shaman, and Hunter are, there is no A tier. That is how far ahead these three classes are of everything else. But B tier, Warriors. They hit so hard. They have so much damage, and if you are a good warrior, you'll have a one-handed weapon and a shield, and you will have shield wall, and you can just have 100% block rate for about 10 seconds every 2 minutes. Huge uptime. You've got Thunderclap, a massive area of effect, huge amounts of damage. You've got Revenge to do brutal amounts of damage, especially if you crit. If you manage to kill somebody, you can Victory Rush, and you can hit the next person extremely hard too. So you will find warriors in Battlegrounds charging from A to B to C, killing people, crushing them all down. Their weaknesses, though, they can be kited, they can be slowed, they can be trapped in combat. If a hunter hits them, and the warrior's in combat, the warrior can't charge, and the hunter can just run in circles, the warrior dies. They've got no hope. But warriors are very, very strong. Likewise, another extremely strong class, Priest. And the reason for this is they get a Psychic Scream, and this allows them to just send everybody that is near them out running for 8 seconds every 30 seconds. That means 1/3 of the time that you're being attacked, you just send people running away. But on top of that, imagine that you've sent somebody running away from you. Now the effect has ended. Now they need to spend another 5 to 10 seconds running back to you. So a priest can sort of kite groups of enemies by running into the middle of a group and spreading them out, and then you can pick people off now that they're alone. Or if a priest is getting dogpiled by 4 or 5 people, they bubble themselves, they scream, those people get split up, the priest can find a path and just run away. You're extremely survivable. You have great heals. Your stamina buff is huge for the battleground, like morale, having the extra health. Priests are extremely strong. Psychic Scream, amazing. Then we move down a tier, to the rogues. Don't get me wrong, rogues are good, but they're not great. They're just okay. If I have more than one rogue on my team in Warsong Culture, I'm not too happy about it, because they kind of only do the same things. The main impact a rogue has on the battleground is the mental warfare of the other team going, is that rogue here? I'm looking at somebody, I'm somebody, it's a 1v1, ooh, but is the rogue here. That's your effect as a rogue. Having 7 rogues or 1 rogue, nothing changes. The only difference is somebody thinking, ooh, can I run there? There might be a rogue. Is this safe? Rogues are pretty good. They can hunt down flag carriers, especially these dirty 30-40% fast runners, because you have a sprint. And the thing about sprint is it's very, very fast. The ability sprint, level 10. You get a 50% movement speed buff for 15 seconds, and it doesn't break your stealth. So there are 2 ways you can creep up on a flag carrier, which a warrior and a priest are never going to catch these 3. But a rogue has hope. You can stealth, go to where they're about to go. So if we go, for example, here, you see that the flag carrier is running out of the tunnel and starts going this way. If you're standing here as a rogue, and you see them running like this, you know that they're faster than you, but you can run like this. And the distance of how short this line is and the distance of how long this line is, given the movement speed, you'll get there about the same time, except you're invisible and you can just get them. And they can't run away, because what do you have in your back pocket? You have sprint. Rogue is the only kind of class that can catch these 3 really, and that's good. That's very powerful. But they don't do great damage. They struggle against the mail wearers, and they also struggle a bit against the casters. You do your opener on a priest, he bubbles, he renews, he psychic screams, you've ran away, and now he's just murking you, and he's in a bubble, he's healing up. You open up on a warrior, he turns around and he hits you harder. You open up on one of these 3, they start running away. If you don't have sprint, you're in trouble, they just run away. You're good, but you're just not great. You're okay as a rogue. Which brings us to Warlock, a similar one. Warlock is interesting because it does, I think, quite a lot of unavoidable damage in the lower brackets. You have a bunch of different curses. You have Corruption that will hit very hard over time, slowly but surely. The rank 14, level 14 one. 90 damage, that's like 10% of people's health. You've got Curse of Agony. Rank 2, 180 damage over 24 seconds. That's 20% of somebody's health. So you can put Corruption, Curse of Agony whilst running, not even facing them, and you're running away, they're running towards you, you can curse them, and they're just slowly bleeding to death, and there's nothing they can do about it. You've got other excellent abilities too. The choice, of course, is Fear. Similar to the Priest's Psychic Scream, except this one's a lot worse. The Priest is instant cast and area of effect. The Warlock one is 1.5 second cast, so people can interrupt it, a rogue can kick you, a paladin can stun you, you are in danger. But if it works, they're running away for 10 seconds. It's strictly worse than the Priest's one. Don't get me wrong, it's not that good. But it's very strong. If somebody's fighting you and it's a 1v2 and you curse them both up and you fear one of them and you're running around and your pet's doing damage, and like, you can start doing some really tricksy stuff as a Warlock. They're very capable. Which brings us to the unfortunate sufferer of the 19 bracket, which is Mage. Mages don't really have a place in the 19 combat arena for several reasons. The first is they don't have very good disables. They have okay disables. They have Polymorph, and Polymorph at level 8, which is the only one you have access to. There's a chance that they resist it. There's a chance that you turn them into a sheep for 20 seconds, and if they take any damage, they instantly go back to what they were. And also the fact that Polymorph doesn't work on druids. So the best class you have no game against at all. But you can do tricksy stuff with the Polymorph. You can have big effects. There's also Frost Nova, which you can trap the melee classes with, and then they can't chase you as well. However, it's quite easily dispelled. You're doing 20 damage, you freeze them in place for up to 8 seconds. Again, any damage caused will interrupt the effect. You look at the other classes, Psychic Scream and Fear. Psychic Scream from Priest, Fear from Warlock. People can hit them during that, and people are dying during it, and they stay controlled. But a Mage, if you put Polymorph or Frost Nova, yes, you can contain them, but you're not allowed to do any damage to them, so you're not really furthering your progress in a fight. Mages excel in fighting the melee classes that can be kited. Your Frostbolt, the big ones, they do heavy damage, they slow for 40 seconds. The tiny ones do a teeny tiny bit of damage and slow for 40 seconds. And what you want to do is you want to have 2 Frostbolts on your bar, because this one only takes 1.5 seconds, whereas this one takes 2.2 seconds. And if you go into the mage tree, you put 5 points into this, you have 0.5 second Frostbolt reduction in cast time, which means this first rank 1 takes a second. So what you'll want to do as a mage is you'll want to cast that 1 second slow, run away a bit, turn around, do a big one, get the big slow, run away a bit, turn around, do a quick one. Use these rank 1 low level Frostbolts, 1 second a pop, shooting them out to slow everybody you can, and then once everybody's slowed, then you can use the slow ones to try and do damage. Problem is, if you get caught by a rogue, you die. If you get charged by a warrior and they have their cooldowns available, if they can trinket your Frost Nova off, you die. If you try and fight a druid, you can't polymorph them, they just either run away or man up on you. You try and fight a shaman, you can't do anything to the totems, you're stuck. Trying to fight a hunter, the hunter and the pet are both murking you. You're not having a good time. I personally feel like, and it's just my opinion, this whole thing is just my opinion, mages struggle a lot in this bracket. Which brings us to the final class, which is my personal most played and favourite class. At the 19 bracket, I think Paladins are either in D or E tier, depending on how you're feeling. All of these can adjust based on how good you are, as well as how good your gear is and your enchants, and if you've got the professions like engineering with the goggles and you're throwing bombs. A mage that is doing everything right, fully geared, and knows what he's doing, he's up here. But just the class itself is down here. It's your ability as a player to pull things up. And the reason that Paladins aren't so great is because they are extremely kiteable. They have no movement speed increase. They can't charge. They can't sprint. They're the only melee class in the game that has no way to cover distance. The only thing you can do is, if you do happen to get close enough to somebody, you have an awesome stun and you do a good amount of damage. Not as much damage as a warrior. You will never out-damage a warrior as a paladin, but that's fine, because you've got the adjustable flexibility of the fact you can heal, you can stun, you can dispel, things like this. A warrior can't do those. But you're going to lose a right-click war with a warrior. 3 second stun interrupts spellcasting. That's huge. If somebody's around 30-40% health and you stun them for 3 seconds, they're dead. Another major thing about the Paladin is that it's all about using your big cooldowns. They're the only class in the game that has a 20-minute cooldown spell available in the 19 twink bracket. And what does it do? It gives you an entire second life. If you let yourself go down to 3% and then you lay on hands, you're back to full. They make okay flag carriers in the context of we're not running around and turtling, but we've got the flag, they've got the flag, we need to go and hunt them, and we can't leave somebody behind. We just need to go as a pack. Everybody that we have in our team needs to go and hunt. Put that flag on a paladin, and that flag will probably survive during the fight. The auras are okay, a bit of armor, a bit of reflective damage. Other than that, you don't bring anything to the table. As a paladin, you don't have any buttons, you don't have any abilities. You have buffs, you have passives, you have auras, and you have some stuff that you can cast once every 3 minutes, once every 20 minutes. You do an okay job, but there's not much you bring to the table. There are 2 builds you can go in terms of talents that I like the idea of. The first one is this tanking right-click damage one. Increases all healing done by you and all healing done to you by 5%. If you're holding a flag, or if you're in like right-click wars and your judgment's healing you, your bubble healing yourself, things like this, this will heal you a lot more, and the strength boost will increase your damage by a lot more. The other one, which I use because, good God, I just want to click buttons. I need something to click. Paladin has no buttons. You get the 5 parry chances. You get 3 out of 3 on the increased crit chance against targets, so that you have more burst damage, and then you decrease the cooldown of Judgment. So instead of casting every 10 seconds, you cast every 8 seconds, and you have at least one button on your keyboard that you're allowed to click. This is the damage-dealing brawling one, because you have a bit of defense and then a lot of offense. This 3% crit increase is everybody on your team, which is huge. So the first Paladin matters a lot, but then, similar to Rogues, the next Paladin and the third and the fourth Paladin, they don't add anything. They don't provide you anything. They're not going to help you. So this is how I rank my Warsong Gulch level 19 bracket class situation. Let me know what you think, because whilst I've played a good 100 battlegrounds of the 19 bracket in a twinked out character on all of these classes, that doesn't mean I have the same expertise you do. You might have played 1,000 games as Rogue and you know some awesome stuff you can get up to, and I might not know that. So you might feel like Rogue's up here, but whether it's up here in your hands or whether it's up here in everybody's hands, who knows? But let me know in the comments what you think, whether you generally agree with this, what you think about the filthy, dirty, turtling 40% speed characters, and just your impressions and how you've experienced the Battlegrounds so far. Thank you for joining me. I hope this video helped you in some way. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.